Good afternoon, dear tutor. My name is Cristian Camilo Murcia, and I'm going to show you the final task of the course Language Forms and Functions. So, this task is about the word formation, and I'm going to talk about conversion and functional shift. So, here is the screen Language Forms and Functions, Cristian Camilo Murcia, code 1083896 UNAT 2016. Well, here we have conversion or functional shift. What does it mean? A functional shift involves the conversion of one part of the speech into another without the addition of a suffix, for example, as in the word phone as a noun and to phone as a verb. Sometimes it is said that a zero derivational suffix is added, but the only concrete change that may occur in a functional shift is a change in stress. Okay? Okay, in this part we can notice how a word can be at the same time, for example, a noun or a verb. You can use other examples that we are going to watch in the following slide. Okay, so here we have some important parts of these topics: suffixes, base words, prefixes, word order, contractions. So let's continue. Well, here we have kinds of functional shifts and examples, right? So in this part, we're going to watch, for example, the first kind is when we pass the verb to a noun, or we convert a verb to a noun. So, for example, we have run, the verb ran, the verb drive, walk, bruise, cut, look, call, and these verbs can be also at the same time, or we can convert them in nouns. For example, when you say I have a missed call, for example, or two calls, or I'm going to take a look, take a look of something, or things like that. The second one is noun to verb. For example, here we have some examples: man, head, shoulder, telephone, last contact. I like this example about telephone because here you can see the object, or when you listen to telephone you can imagine the object, but at the same time it can play a role of a verb, so it's very important to identify it. Here we have adjective, to verbs. So for example, better, empty, idle, dirty, and at the same time you can see the particle to, because in this case you make functional shifts in order to convert the adjective into a verb. Now we continue with adverbs to noun. So for example, double, private, commercial, formal, even red. For example, it could be the color red, and at the same time it could be an adjective or an adverb. Here we have a P or T to V. What does it mean? It means a particle. PTR denotes particle. So this can be, for example, prepositions, adverbs, and conjunctions, right? So what examples that we have? We have, for example, down, up, off, out, things like that. So it's very important to identify it, because sometimes you listen a word and you think in your mind this is for example a verb, or maybe a noun, but you have to be aware of the context that this word is being talking, and then you have to try to identify if its function is as a verb, or as a noun, or as an adjective, or things like that. Okay, let's continue. Okay, here we have other important features. So there are other important characteristics in conversion. For example, other kind of conversion are less common and here we have some examples. So they are preposition to a noun. For example, ins, outs, adverb to a noun. For example, the whys, when you are talking about the whys or things like that. Prefix to a noun. Here we have a picture, for example, the cons and pronouns. But actually, cons and pronouns are prefix. But you are using here, for example, using them here as a noun, right? So it's very important to identify. Okay, besides, we also have that once a word has been converted, it can normally take the inflections of the new class. Found, for example, run, 3 runs. So here we have the word found, in which you can see that found is an object, a noun, but once you have converted this word in a verb, if you are going to talk it about in past tense, you have to make the common inflections that it has. So the word will have d at the end of the word, like in the example. Let's continue. Okay, here we have more features. For example, what happens semantically when a word is converted may be quite varied, right? So this means that it changed its sense in terms of time, place, range, actions. Yeah. So actions can become easily countable due to these shifts. For example, 2 claps, several calls. Yeah. On the other hand, as it is a little difficult to know in conversions which is the original form and which the converted form, sometimes you can notice a clue, but it's important, always important, here that you have to take care about it, right? You have to take care and be careful, and I think this means according to the context. Okay, so here we have a picture about the telephone, a yellow telephone or phone, and here is a noun, and here Bob is a verb, right? Let's continue. Okay, other important features. Some other converted forms shows a difference in stress, with stress on the first syllable, which is called prefix, of the noun, and the second syllable, the root, on the verb. So let's look at some examples. Here is the verb and noun, right? So the verb, for example, conduct, okay? And as a noun, it will be conduct, right? So here, for example, the verb rebel, and as a noun, it will be rebel, right? So here we have permit and permit. Here we have as a verb record, and noun as a noun record. And finally, as a verb, we have the word object, and as a noun object. So there are lots of examples, and here there are only 5, but it's important to identify the difference in the stress as a verb and as a noun. So here we have verbs, nouns, in order to identify the difference. And finally, we have a special kind of functional shift is called commonization, in which a proper noun is converted into a common word. A proper noun naming person, place, tribe, or group may undergo commonization to a noun, verb, or adjective, often with no phonological change. For example, as a noun, Kashmir, China, sandwich. As a verb, for example, lynch, ponder, counter. Even adjective like frank, and things like that. So it's very important to identify all these kind of functional shifts in order to be aware of them and trying to listen clearly and to identify them according to the context in which they are used when we are talking in English, right? So it's very important this. And finally, I want to tell you that thanks for watching. It has been a very great experience for me, and see you later with other videos. Thank you very much. Bye bye.